Well, interesting events going on in my life, and how to talk about it. I'm very, very interested in government, clearly because I'm on a disability. I know the causes that got me here. I know what it would take to get me off of this system. Um, to a great extent, it does deal with the word depression, and globally, we're experiencing a global depression. And you got to ask yourself, what is the similarities between the increase of selling antidepressants? Why are so many people depressed? Um, and why are we experiencing a global depression? A lot of people are focused on the economic system, that you don't have enough money, and as soon as there's not enough money, then all of a sudden you become depressed. A lot of it has in common is stress. So these are issues that have my main concerns are the systems that we need to function in not create a level of stress that creates a depression. And with an election coming up, and everything that government does and what they're aware of and what problems they're willing to work on, I don't see any politician talking about the real things that need to be done. We have a corporate structure that is taken over the world. It's like they're too big to fail, and we have to do what the corporate structure says. Otherwise, they'll go someplace else. We need, as Canadians, we need the corporate structure's money to fund new jobs. The corporate structure is not designed to create jobs, it's designed to lay off and do everything automated, and it profits off of you getting sick. It is the pharmaceutical world that as long as you're getting sick, they've got a pill to cure you. It's got a whole pile of other side effects, but it will make you docile. It will make, there's so much money in making drugs for you to not be aware of somebody's profiting off of your hard times. And who's profiting? The corporate structure. The corporate structure is talking to every one of these politicians saying, this is what you got to do. Here's the amount of employees I need you to train in your education system. Um, so I've got a lot of, what does this election mean? No matter which guy you pick, there's going to be issues. If you sort of reverse mechanics, the debate to have with any politician, look at the bigger picture and say, how many people are going to be harmed by your policy? Is your policy, your platform, going to please 100% of all Canadians? Or who is the target audience that benefits from your policies, and who are the ones that are going to suffer from it? If it's going to be the suffering of people that have too much, then we need to look at getting some medication for why people are addicted to money to the point it looks like they're crack. Which brings me to another little event that I experienced, like out of the blue. The apartment that I'm living in, they've been doing a lot of upgrading and painting the outside and fixing the roof. And last summer there was always construction people around here. So yesterday there was a whole pile of construction sounds on top of the roof. I had this premonition that they would be knocking on my door because it sounded so central to my apartment. And lo and behold, Late in the afternoon, somebody comes knocking on my door, and it looked like a worker that had fallen down from wherever they were working on and looked injured. So I opened my door and offered them some help. Well, it turns out it was a psychiatric patient that escaped from Penticton. It's about an hour away from here. And what he was telling me is that he was being beaten up in my ceiling and fallen through the ceiling. And he attempted to break through the ceiling 3 times in the hallway. Um, but I had opened my door, and there's also magically a water ban. Um, I question about this radiation going in the mountains and on the snow, and the snow is melting and it's in our water supply. Um, but they only say to boil your water for a minute, so I think it's kind of a regular thing that happens here. Pollution is in the snow somehow, which, sometimes these things that go on, we're not aware of. Why is it that I have to boil my water here in Canada? Is it really a natural thing when the corporate structure that we know without a doubt is putting pollution somewhere in our atmosphere, our environment, and it all rises and it will all come down in the snow in the mountains, the highest places. So how aware are we as to why we experience what we experience? And the people that tell us that things are safe, are they really telling us the full truth of everything? um, my mother always used to say, oh, trust, you have to trust. And things aren't going so well, so it's, who do you trust? The corporate structure, the guy that has the best lawyer that can get away with everything? That's when you train lawyers and have the best lawyers, they create poverty. They create a corporate structure to get away with whatever they get away with. So do we really want to educate our kids to be more lawyers? Doctors that are, this was a psychiatric patient that lobbed out right in front of my door. But what type of doctors are we having that can cure this? This guy, like, that saved me, he comes in my door and locks it right away. So normally, I think people would have been scared by that. Fear is what would have gotten this guy even more fearful, being that he's a psychiatric patient and he thinks somebody's going to beat him. Like, obviously he's in this world where people are out to get him. And because there's a water ban, I ended up saying you can't drink the water, because he needed water. That's what he really wanted the most. And I just happened to say, well, the water's poison. We can't drink it here. We've got to go outside. We've got to get help. I'll come with you. There'll be 2 of us. So I got him at least out of the door. And long story short, they found out he was a psychiatric patient and just put him away. They didn't need to even talk to me. But when I see that there's this guy that created this concept called holodynamics that claims to be a tool that can solve every problem known to the human experience. He knows of a system that can transform all toxic waste into pure clean energy, but it needs funding. Um, he and there is a reason why he was injured with high grade uranium and cured himself of that. This doctor um, is more of a scientist, so he wanted to prove his science. So he went into a mental institution, and when he reached, I believe it was an 80% cure rate of schizophrenic patients, just like the one that popped into my house, when he cured him and got him to a state where he can function within society again, the hospital fired him because they were losing funding. So we know how to fund better doctors that can actually cure mental illness. Um, Unfortunately, doctors all doctors need to be cured of their illness, because um, this guy is a doctor. He has come up with a concept that can solve every problem known to the human experience. He basically can prove his science, and his books were written like 20 years ago and they haven't been on the bestsellers list. So the doctor can't recognize his own unknown problem, because if he noticed that his books wasn't a global interest and selling on the bestsellers list, that would be a little bit of a problem to me. And so if his tool frankly works, he should have been able to sell his concept, with 20 years ago. And here I am in the same dilemma, is if this tool really works, then we should all hear about it. We should all know about it. So there's, what is making our reality have the answers, but not actually unfold the answers? Here's a doctor that has this tool. So I'm using that same tool, and the guy didn't do any marketing. So um, that's what I'm saying that we need to market this. And if somebody is really, really great at marketing, that is the tool that's used in our corporate structure. Marketing is the tool that gets people elected. If there are any master marketing people out there, you need to start marketing for a better direction for humanity. That's who I would vote for. And voting for a better medical system that actually looks for causes. And you can't change the giant, but you can stop working for the giant and start doing something else that takes up your time and actually produces something everybody else actually wants, and everybody else wants jobs. The best thing that we can do is self-employment and employment within our own communities. And healthcare is something that um, I've had to do on my own. And because I don't trust doctors, I haven't seen a doctor for, well, I've seen a counselor a year ago, um, a psychologist, or, more of a higher paid professional who ended up saying I taught her a few things about how reality is created, and I found out I'm more normal um, than society. So, it was almost going to a doctor to say, yep, you're normal. So, but any other doctor that um, I would go and see about dealing with any of the problems that I've dealt with, either emotionally or physically, they would just give me a pill for it. And tell me that there's nothing you can do about it. This is incurable. The best thing you can do is ease the pain, and accept and allow. And what are some of the other things they manipulate you into doing? Um, Life's not fair. You can't change the system. You just got to try and figure out how to fit within the system. I mean, there's so many ways that it's like, oh, if that's the only thing you've got to tell me, then you don't know how to solve a problem then, because this is wrong. I can't accept this. Most people want you to forget about the issues. Child support to me is something that I am not going to not talk about, especially during an election. This causes poverty both for fathers and mothers. This is breaking up the family. This is, and in order to do this, the system needs you not to believe in yourself. So that is part of the new medical systems, is we need new businesses that help you believe in yourself, help build up your self-esteem, and not build up your self-esteem with stuff, but doing it the real way by unfolding what your purpose is in life, to really find out the meaning of your life, loving your life. And I'll have to continue on another video because I got lots to say today. Peace out.